present and even productive in the midst of this pandemic. God, we love you and we praise you. For those who are present here tonight, we pray that there'll be no chaos nor confusion, but rather, God, grant us a moment of civility. Grant us a mindset of community and camaraderie. Grant us clarity in all of our proceedings. Give us, Father God, the wisdom to disagree but not divide, to help each other and to listen and not dismiss. Father God, allow us to be compliant and not defiant. We desire productivity and efficiency out of this gathering. And we pray, Father God, for those in the great city of Montgomery who are also having to face the reality of eviction. Give them strength and a peace that surpasses all understanding. In your name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Amen. Please rise for the pledge. Council, any motion on the work session minutes from July the 20th?
Mr. President, move to adopt.
Have a motion to adopt. All in favor, raise your hand.
5 with 1 abstention.
Okay. Council, any motion on the regular council meetings for the 20th of July?
Mr. President, move to adopt.
Have a motion to adopt. All in favor, raise your hand.
Unanimous.
Okay. Mr. Mayor, you're up.
Good evening. Good to be with everybody today, and we've got a couple of things to talk about, some very serious topics that I'll get to in just a second, but I'm going to start with some good news because I think it's good if we start this way as opposed to maybe how we're going to end. But I want to say I'm grateful to the Montgomery Advertiser for the work that they've been doing in recognizing people who change our community day in and day out. And we've been doing this for a number of months and just trying to highlight some of the people, because we can't highlight everybody as much as we like, but we try to work with them as they get feedback on people who are making a difference in everyday Montgomery and even beyond. And today I'm very proud that we'll be honoring as part of the Montgomery Advertiser Community Heroes, Anthony and Fred Brock. These are two gentlemen that I've known for a long time, and their friendship goes back a long way with me, but it's not as much that as I'm proud of them for the work they've been doing in education. Now, I must say that I have a little bias because I'm on the board of directors at Valiant Cross, and it's very important that I admit my bias in terms of the work that they've been doing here since the school opened. But they were doing that work even before Valiant Cross opened. They've always been a part of the community. They've always had a high interest in young people and educating the next generation, and really standing as leaders, not just as educators, in every facet of their life. They've been people who have guided me during my transition as mayor as part of the education committee. They've been good advisors, off topic and offline as it relates to a number of issues that impact the community as well. But we're here today because of the lives they're making, the difference they're making in the lives of young people. Young people in some of our most challenged neighborhoods and some of our most impoverished areas. And they go above and beyond the call to make sure that those young people, in particular, these young boys and young men, have good examples and a good role model to follow and a good blueprint to lay out as well. So I'm proud that they have been recognized through their ministry at Valiant Cross Academy. I do believe it is a ministry. And by turning these young men into scholars, young men that will lead not only this city and this state, but this nation in the various fields across the board. And because of their dedication and because of the work that they've done, I'm honored that the Montgomery Advertiser has chosen them as this month's community hero. And at this time, I'll ask you will come up, Paige, and give any remarks you'd like to give to Fred, as I should say in terms of seniority, Fred Brock, who's the older brother, and Anthony Brock, and all the work that they've been doing. Now hold on. Now this wasn't part of the script. So that picture up there, now it looks like a picture of the old Fred Brock I knew, Rondé, from Cloverdale Junior High School when he was a quarterback at Cloverdale, and then for the Jeff Davis Volunteers. His pose was better than his throws. So I'll just leave it at that. But otherwise, everything else is in accordance with who they are. But that is a good pose, Fred. You're always good at that. All right, I'll turn it over to you, Paige.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Council. And thank you to our community sponsor, Beasley Allen, for working with us on Community Heroes. You know, the leaders of towns big and small talk a lot about at-risk students and challenges of serving them in our schools and in our communities. Often that conversation is about them and not for them. Anthony Brock and Fred Brock focused on the latter when they opened Valiant Cross Academy in 2015. Their faith-based school began with 30 sixth grade students, boys, every one of them. The Brock brothers took a holistic approach to educating these young people who largely hail from the west side of Montgomery. They nurture the mind and the spirit, they create connections to faith and community, and they grow their confidence. At Valiant Cross, the Brocks are building scholars by giving these people opportunity, support, hope, and a stronger sense of self-worth. They're also taking away a thing or two, obstacles, and that feeling of being less than. In May, we wrote an article, Montgomery Advertiser education reporter Krista Johnson wrote, though many students come from an underserved area known for its lack of resources and various challenges, the Brock brothers have made exposure foundational to their mission, and they've illuminated the power of it. As one of the brothers say, it is not about an achievement gap, but rather an opportunity gap. For their dedication to not just serving and uplifting their students, but for their overall goal of improving the community in which their scholars live, the Brock brothers have been named the Montgomery Advertiser Community Heroes for May.
Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, everyone. I would like to just say thank you to the council, Mayor Reed, and to the Montgomery Advertiser for this award. We have a couple of small schools here in Montgomery. We're just trying to do our part. We're educating some amazing young people just so that they understand how much they're worth and how brilliant that they are. That's all, and I just want to say thank you guys. The real heroes are the staff members at our school and the parents that are at our school. We have a very small role in just facilitating an educational institution for those people. But thank you guys so much.
Congratulations.
Congratulations, man.
All right, everybody, looking proud to me and Jamal. 1, 2, 3. Now Jamal. 1, 2, 3.
Very good.
All right.
It's in the book. It's in the book. Those kids there, that's got a great family. Good family.
Congratulations again, and we just want to thank everyone at Valiant Cross Academy for the work they do, the scholars, parents as well.
Both mom and dad.
I'm going to get right now to some city business, and we'll talk numbers first, and then we'll get to some other initiatives that we want to bring forward. We can go to the slides. We're going to really take a look at how our revenue streams are trending in the city of Montgomery for sales and use tax, lodging tax, gasoline tax, and the alcohol and beverage tax. All is very important as we are in budget season right now, and I appreciate all the council members for their help and listening in on some of the budget hearings and some of the issues that have been raised. I want to first talk about our sales and use tax numbers right now. We continue to have a double-digit positive growth rate year over year. That's good news for us because the revenue from sales and use tax increased for the month of July more than 9% above the same period, fiscal year 2020. And although this is a decline of 3% from the previous month in the current year, this tax still has a positive growth rate compared with pre-pandemic years. So we're still trending up when you even remove 2020. Overall, sales and use tax revenue is up near 14% year over year. And the year-end projection for sales and use tax revenue is expected to come in at least a double-digit increase over previous fiscal years, or at a lower double-digit increase, I should say. Next slide, please. Lodging tax revenue is continuing to be on path for positive growth here in the city. This is consistent with tourists coming back to the community. And this is important because it fuels a lot of our revenue when we think about what tourism makes up for our economic development sector here, not just downtown, but throughout the community. When we think of restaurants, when we think of some of our retailers, and we think of some of our small businesses, a lot of them are benefiting from the tourists that are coming into the city. Now, this tax for fiscal year 2021 compared to July of 2020 had a significant growth rate of more than 75%, or in terms of dollars and cents, more than $453,000 collected over the same period, month over month. The year-over-year growth rate for lodging tax revenue is a negative 5%. However, since the increase from month over month reflects a significant positive growth, I believe we're poised to see nothing less than break even for this revenue stream at the end of the fiscal year. Next slide, please. The gasoline tax revenue had a positive growth rate in July of nearly 13% over the previous year. Although there was a decline from the previous month year over year, gasoline tax revenue still has a positive growth rate of more than 5%. I'll take that because that's still overall good news.
Good.
Final slide, please. The alcoholic and beverage tax revenue had a negative growth rate for the month of July compared to the previous year. This may be a twofold reason for the decline. First, citizens are getting out more, maybe drinking a little bit less. Secondly, it's also suspected that some of the alcoholic beverage and use tax collections may not have arrived timely to report for the month of July. So we're cautious about this number, but nonetheless, here it is. Our numbers will be validated by the next meeting, and so if there is a significant change, we'll come back and we'll adjust that retroactively. However, overall, year over year, the alcoholic beverage tax revenue does have a negative growth rate of less than 1%. So essentially, it's remained flat. That is within the margin of error. As a final note, I'll be presenting the fiscal year 2022 budget message and document to the council at the next meeting, August 17th. And I am excited about those numbers because we aren't presenting the dire circumstances that we had last year as we were dealing with the cutbacks of what we had to address due to COVID. And that really is a very telling lead into what the next topic is. And it is a topic centered around COVID and where we are right now. Last Friday, I implemented mandatory masking in all city facilities. We did that based on recommendations from the CDC as well as advisement from our COVID-19 task force. Unfortunately, we've been experiencing a surge both internally with some of our city departments as well as in our community that could rival anything that we've dealt with in the past year. In the past 14 days in Montgomery County alone, COVID-19 cases have increased 131%. Hospitalizations have increased by over 210%. If you had asked me 3 months ago if I thought we'd be talking about this in August, I would have told you no. Unfortunately, the virus doesn't revolve around any prognostications or predictions. The numbers are what they are. And so we're back to sharing this update because we've had conversations with our COVID-19 task force about how to try to increase awareness around vaccinations, how to increase awareness around the danger of this Delta variant, and how to make sure that, again, we put the health of our community at the forefront. And so part of that means as a city, we have to make sure that we control those things that we can. And one of the things that we can control is our environment and our city facilities, and that we take the precautions that we think are necessary to protect not only our employees, but also the public, and that we also try to shine a light and amplify issues that are causes for concern. No different than the siren warning us of a storm, that's what we attempted to do on Friday, just with the notification about city facilities. An average of 67 new cases per day are now being reported. In the past month, the burden rate has gone to the high transmission and very high risk category according to the CDC. And we've got to understand that this Delta variant is 2 times as contagious as the original strain. And while some fully vaccinated people can spread this variant, the vaccines do provide effective protection from hospitalization, severe disease, severe illness, and death. And so we want to encourage very strongly that everyone who is eligible to get vaccinated. We had a strong turnout at Garrett Coliseum, which Christina Thornton, who's the director of our emergency management agency, led, and the community came out very strong. Even some who had been on the fence decided to come out and get vaccinated after reading various stories and after deciding that they wanted to be part of the solution as opposed to part of the problem. And I say this because we're also about to open up our schools in a couple of weeks. And we've seen the mandate that's come down recommending that masks be worn in our schools. We know that students under the age of 12 cannot be vaccinated, and so we want to encourage those parents to get those students that can be vaccinated, vaccinated. And what we're seeing right now, if you look at the numbers, 41% in Montgomery County have received at least 1 dose of the vaccine. 30% have completed the vaccine series. Those are numbers that we need to increase very rapidly. We have administered 159,318 doses as of 5 o'clock today. And I say that because Director Thornton told me she was going out to one of the neighborhoods to make sure that we could have vaccines available even at the neighborhood meetings tonight. So hopefully that number has increased. But with that being said, I do want to take this last point to let you know that we're going to issue an indoor mask advisory in accordance with the guidance released by the CDC. This is not a mandate, it is an advisory. It is something for us to consider when we're eating or we're shopping indoors. And this measure strongly advises everyone, regardless of vaccination status, to wear a mask when indoors with people outside of their household. We believe it's very important that, again, we be proactive in this approach by issuing the advisory to our community. And many of the businesses have already stepped up to protect their patrons and employees, and we're going to ask for continued support from our private partners in business here to try to do that, because again, frontline workers are exposed, essential workers are exposed, even for those who may not be vaccinated. So we want to do everything we can to strongly encourage those that are in our city limits and hopefully those that are within the region and beyond to wear a mask right now as we try to slow the spread so we don't find ourselves where we were last year. When you look at this from an economics perspective, it makes sense to take these steps to keep our businesses open. We want to make sure that they stay open safely, and again, we want to make sure that all of their team members and their employees that want to work have the opportunity to come and do that. Throughout this pandemic, we have worked together, even throughout some tough times and some tough decisions, to be proactive in this, and that's what we seek to do right now. And so, with this advisory, we hope that when you're indoors with people outside of your household, you will wear a mask. We hope that businesses will join us in encouraging that so that we don't see the further increase in hospitalizations in our medical facilities, so that we don't see the further strain put on our medical infrastructure, and we don't get to a point where we're having to make very stark decisions about how we move forward as a city, as a county, as a community, and as a region, and as a state. And so that's what this advisory is for us to be aware of where the numbers are right now, and to be aware of what you can help us do by partnering with us by not only wearing your mask when you're inside, but by also making sure that you get vaccinated. If you know people who have not been vaccinated, we want you to try to encourage them as well gently to be vaccinated. That's what's going to help us in this community really get back to a sense of normalcy. And again, as we embark upon the return of in-person education in our schools, we honor our community heroes for what they're doing at a school here at Valiant Cross Academy. We have to think across our entire public school system what we will be confronted with over the next week to 10 days. And so let's do everything that we can as a city, as a community, to take this advisory seriously for the time being, so that we can reverse the trends that we've been seeing over the last 14 days and get back to a sense of normalcy and get back to where we can see one another's smiles and we can get back to seeing one another's faces without having to worry about this Delta variant and without having to worry about the impact. So, Mr. President, that concludes my message for this evening.
Thank you,
I'll turn
Mayor.
it back over to the council. Thank you all for allowing me to speak today as a guest.
Very good. Thank you, Mayor. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Good numbers. Bad to see those numbers, but okay. We don't have anybody from the distinguished young women. That lady got sick. She's not here tonight. So we'll go right into committee. Any special committee reports we need to talk about? I don't think so. Okay. First item, Madam Clerk.
Mr. President, item 1, hearing on proposed ordinance rezoning one parcel of land on the west side of Lower Wetumpka Road, approximately 100 feet south of Pinecrest Street, from a B2 district to an R65S district.
We have two people here signed up to speak. Greg Gillen, Marshall. Y'all please come forward.
Thank you.
Well,
I'm here to represent Mr. Boyd, who's seeking rezoning of the property from B2 to an R65S.
Okay.
I didn't show up last time for the meeting, so I made sure I made it this time.
Okay.
And he's simply trying to build a residential structure here on what was
Okay.
originally zoned business, but it's surrounded by residential.
Very good. Sounds like Tommy, tell us about it.
Mr. President, the Planning Commission unanimously recommended the rezoning of this property for single-family residence.
Okay, so this is Planning Commission's recommended. Any questions, council?
What is it? Is residential, or you said what is
It's
it?
going to residential. Folks.
Residential.
It's
Okay.
going residential. So that's good move. Okay, anybody else? I need a motion to adopt.
Motion to adopt.
Hold. I didn't have the public hearing. Does anyone here like to speak against this item? Seeing none, I declare the public hearing's been held. It's brought before the council. Need a motion now.
All right. Move to suspend the rules.
All right, all in favor, just motion to adopt.
Motion to adopt.
All in favor, raise your hand.
Unanimous. Ordinance
Okay.
is adopted.
Good luck with your property, please. Okay.
Item 2, review of issues at Superstore number 1 at 1015 Mobile Road.
Okay. Representative of Superstore number 1, please come forward. Superstore number 1.
Item number 2, Mr. President.
Item number 2. Item number 2.
What's his name? Sam?
I didn't see my son.
Sanjay Patel.
Sanjay.
Patel.
Mr. Patel's not here?
Sanjay Patel?
Well, look at that.
He ain't here. Okay.
Now, what do we do about that, Ms. Blaylock?
You can carry it over to the next meeting, and we will call them and tell them to be here, or if
Did we
go-
send notice to them?
No, ma'am.
But they
we
was
have
here
to-
when we told them that.
That's correct, yes, ma'am.
Because I got people here that just wanted to be in the number count to say that we still watching you. Yeah, can we do that? Carry him over and
Yes,
send
ma'am.
him some kind of official notice to be
and-
here?
ma'am.
And let all those people stand so we know how many folks we
everybody
got.
who's here about number 2, you just stand so we can just see the number of people that are here.
Number 2,
about this.
please stand.
Okay.
Okay. Okay. 5, 6. Okay. All right. Very
Okay.
good.
Thank y'all so much for
We'll carry it
coming.
over.
Thank you, Ms. Blaylock.
Number 3.
Item 3, review of issues of extended stay studio at 2750 Chestnut Street.
Okay. Representative KT Investments and Extended Stay Studio. Here, please. Anybody here for number 3? Number 3.
We're gonna
Enough.
carry it over.
You gonna carry it over? You go. Okay. All right. Carry it over. Number 4.
Item 4, show cause hearing on the proposed revocation of business license of Sings Market at 3055 Woodley Road.
Sings Market. Representative Sings Market here, please. Yes, sir. You here with this one?
Attorney.
Who is the
He's the attorney, I guess.
he's the attorney for him?
Yeah, Mr. Anderson.
Let me just. Is this your CC?
No, Mr. Mitchell.
That's me. That's me.
Mitchell, okay. Yes, sir. Your name for the record, sir?
James Wilson, representing Mr.
James Wool, okay. And you're representing the owner? The owner's over there. Okay. All right.
Counsel, if I may,
Okay, Chief.
on this item, as I understand it, there's currently a criminal investigation regarding an incident that happened on this property. We don't need to address those matters because there is an ongoing criminal investigation. So I just caution you not to ask him any questions or reference that matter at this time.
Okay. I understand the legal process. We don't need to be getting into the court system.
Correct.
It could be used.
It could definitely be perceived as interfering with an ongoing investigation, and we don't want that perception.
Okay. Well, we need to back off.
So, Mr. President,
Yes, sir.
can I just, as I can't really ask the owner anything, can we hear from the family members of other people that's opposing that store? Can I just hear from them?
Certainly, they can speak. We just don't need to ask the owner, or if anyone's here with any specifics about that incident, we don't really need to address those.
I'd be better off not to get.
Yeah, I won't ask the owner, but the people that's here to speak against the store, you can step up, please, and let me hear from you.
How many folks? Okay, you got Jamal Brown, Margaret McCall, Preston Presley. Those 3 signed up.
Okay, I didn't know we were not at liberty to say anything about this until now. I just want to know why, is his store still open for the most part? This incident, it hasn't been resolved. I have about 200-300 people that's standing with me with their signature stating that they don't want the store open. It's not just those 200-300 people, it's a lot of people.
Yeah.
So I'm just speechless. I don't know what to say. It's no penalty that Mr. Sheen has to face.
Well, he's in court.
So I'm talking about the store. What penalty do he have to face for him doing what he done.
The court system decides that, not us. Sorry.
Why is his store is able to still be open?
So
Why?
The question is, we don't know, and I cannot ask the details of what happened. If we can directly say this is what happened, who it happened to, then I would do everything I can to move forward. But at this time, I'm very limited to the information that Chief Harris, if you can talk about it, I don't know how much information Chief Harris can share with us at this time.
Well, in reference to that particular incident, I can't share anything as legal directed. But my purpose here, I think there was a request from council to look at calls for service at that particular business that involved police response since January of this year. And those are the numbers that I can provide in reference to the number of times that we've been out there. And police-related calls for service, what we've had is 43 since January of this year, various things, but that doesn't make the store owner the problem. It's just saying that those were times that we had to respond to that particular location for calls for service for this year.
Do you have a list that you could share with us about the different types of calls?
It's in your packet.
Excuse me. Excuse me. So I know that they're speaking about, in particular right now, the business license, and I know that we've closed clubs for things even less. So when it comes to regards to the business license rejection, Stacy.
If we're looking at the business license based on that one incident, because we cannot explore, like Councilman Mitchell said, we can't really explore what happened during that incident. We don't know if there's a public safety issue. We don't know the facts surrounding it right now. The police are still investigating it, so it's really impossible to move forward on a revocation of a business license based on that for public safety issues if we don't know that there's a public safety issue.
Okay. I think we're kind of limited to what we can do, and the
do
more
have
we
a
talk,
couple
the
more
more we
people
get.
signed up.
Mr. President.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah.
We just got sidetracked by the city attorney. We know we cannot talk about the criminal perspective. So don't let what she talk about, Mr. President, confuse you and our new city council member of what's going on. Let me tell him what's going on, everybody, so we can be on the same page. We talking about that criminal incident opened the door over other stuff that been going on years at 3055 Whitney Road. Let me read one thing to you, Mr. President. Somebody went on there to that store. They said he has a rule. If you swipe your EBT card, you have to spend a certain amount, and that goes against the law. And they sent me the law. And say if you're not spending what his limit is, you can use EBT there. And you can only use your EBT card to buy chicken only if you're buying large amounts, like 10 pieces or more. But he won't let you buy a 2-piece, and if you walking home in the hot sun and you stop at his store to buy a bottle of water and you only got $2 on your card, he'll let you get it because he won't let you get it because he has a limit on his card. And then they went over there and said he was playing black music today to make black folks feel like he for black folks. There's numerous witnesses, Mr. Mitchell and Mr. President, that said this individual have said racist and bigot things about black folks on that side of town. And it's a slap in our face that he got a black attorney up here to represent him, knowing he don't like black folks. That's a slap in my face. I'm 30 years old, Mr. Grimes. You've been knowing me since I was a little boy fighting for black folks' rights on the west side of town. I know racist when I see it. And he's a racist. So we can't talk about the criminal side, Miss Felicia. We understand that. But we want to talk about, Miss Graham, the things that customers go into his store, Miss Johnson, and other Arab stores in Montgomery and treat black folks wrong. They talk to us in a kind of way. They treat us in a kind of way. Now, Mr. Jim Wright, you go to MAPCO to get your gas. You don't go to these stores. Mayor Reed go to MAPCO to get his gas. He don't go to these stores. But we got to stop by these neighborhood stores and let them always look at us and talk to us in a kind of way. Something wrong with you here. Oh,
yeah, you're blowing the speakers out.
my bad. Turn the mic down some, Mike.
But
thank you. So that's all I'm saying, Mr. President. Like, we're talking about incidents besides this. Please, counsel, you did at the Empire last year and other clubs. This is the same thing need to happen with this situation. He's a racist.
That's all we need to hear.
My time ain't up yet. We got one more person.
Okay, get the other person up.
He's a racist and he's a bigot. And he don't need to be making no money in the city of Montgomery off of black folks.
I don't know why you shop with him.
Say what? I don't shop with him. I'm thankful for the people that shop with him and stop shopping with him. Say what?
I wouldn't shop there.
I don't shop there, but that still don't give him the right. So let me ask you a question. Since you challenging me, so you saying by him being racist, that's still excusable?
I didn't say that was excusable. I say if he's racist like you say, don't shop with the man.
Use the city council president. So you telling me he needs to still be in a business? Yes or no? Put it on record.
He doesn't need to shop. You don't need to shop with him.
And he's a racist.
I didn't say anything.
This represent Montgomery.
Back off.
This represent Montgomery.
No.
Does this represent Montgomery?
We're not talking about, we're talking about a shop, okay, business.
But does...
I've had enough. Okay, you started again, Jamal.
Okay, no, hold on. Is Jamel...
John, shut up. Okay, I've had enough.
We following the rules. Is my time over with Ms. Blaylock?
I don't take the time.
We're not taking time.
Okay.
But don't challenge the chair.
I'm not going to challenge the chair. I'm just asking a simple question.
No, you're not.
I'm going to tell you this. It's going to be consequences now.
No, you just...
it's going to be consequences.
Mr. Brown, thank you so much.
You remember that.
We know
thank you.
But hold on, let us hear from the other one, and
Who's
then
the
let us
next
have
person?
more discussion.
Who's signed up next?
Don't leave yet. The attorney? Didn't the attorney sign up?
They had Margaret McCall and Preston Presley.
Preston Presley, that's him right there.
Mr. President, Council, my name is Preston Presley, attorney here in Montgomery, here representing the family. What we do know about June 6th is that Andrew McCall lost his life at Scenes Market. We don't have many of the details in what happened, but what we do know is nobody has been arrested for his death. And we also know that he was not at that store committing a crime. In speaking to the family, they have limited information, usually. When you talk about any crime, whether it be a murder, robbery, or whatever it may be, detectives, investigators will reach out to the family and keep them informed. They have not received any information as to what happened to their brother. So I'm here simply today to ask the council, the mayor, city attorney's office to ensure that this family is kept informed of what's going on in the investigation, so they will know once the investigation is done what happened to their family member. Thank you.
Very good.
I have a
All right.
well, Mr. Mitchell.
Audrey,
Go ahead.
Okay, I got a couple more questions. Chief Harris, do we know were these calls made from the business, or were they made by just people that were shopping there?
Our call shows the response from the police side, so it could be something that was made from the business. It could be something that was called in by a third-party complainant as a citizen. But we have the total number of calls that we've responded to at that location since January of this year.
Because it shows 13 report of suspicious persons. I mean, if they come in to buy gas, what's suspicious about that? I mean, you know what I'm saying? That just stands out to me. it's an issue there. And then I'm concerned about, I feel like what has happened, I know we can't talk about the incident itself, but I feel like it's creating a hostile environment for the city of Montgomery out there on Woodley Road. And I don't know if that's beneficial for us to continue down this path until we get some resolve. So I understand Councilman Mitchell's position of wanting to just kind of put it on ice. Just suspend them for a little while till we can get some resolve because of the tension that is creating for the community. And we don't want our city to be in an uproar. We don't want chaos to break out. We don't want to have issues with this business owner and this family, because it's getting to the point that it's boiling over. When you have people who are not related to this family wanting to come out. We've seen it. Y'all had several calls where he's saying they on his sidewalk. He didn't want them in front of his business, like the sidewalk was his, calling 911. The police have been out there multiple times, and we're aware of that. So, right, but he locked the doors and everything. Right, but we've had that, so.
Well, it sounds like, I absolutely agree. It sounds like a waste of city resources. And with 43 calls since January, that's a problem within the city of Montgomery. And I'm agreeing with Councilwoman Graham and Councilman Mitchell. If this is what your movement is, I agree to suspend his license.
Just till we can get some, and we can move this on. That's where I stand. I don't know if you have anything to add to that, Chief Harris, and you may not, because I didn't really ask you any questions. I was just stating that it's 13 calls for suspicious persons. As a business owner, who's suspicious? Everybody looks suspect, I guess, if they, look a certain way, but you want them to come in and buy stuff from your business. Why they look suspicious? I don't know.
Chief Harris, can you explain suspicious person? What does that mean, suspicious person?
That depends on the individual's perspective and how they associate that person with suspicious. It's going to be based on the totality of circumstances of what's happening, what that person's perception is, what their normal is to make that person suspicious. So that's an objective question based on who the complainant is.
Let's suspend it.
Okay.
Yes, Mr. Attorney.
Just a couple points I'd like to make in reviewing this, and I would very much like to ask the chief.
Sorry, sir, can you speak into the microphone? Can't hear you.
We can't hear you. There you go.
I would very much like to ask the chief the date of these particular reports on each of the items that are listed here. It is my understanding that the majority of the items listed on here came after this shooting occurred. Many of the items on here were the result of Mr. Jamal, whatever his name is, coming out there, setting up a protest on this man's property, and he calling the now, I didn't interrupt them, Mr. Jenwright.
Yes, sir.
Many of these items on this list occurred after this shooting, okay? After Mr. Jamal came out there and set up a protest on this man's property. And they threatened customers who were trying to come into his business to buy, purchase items. And there are witnesses here who can testify to that. So if there were incidents that occurred prior to the shooting, which was on June, I think, I'd like to know what those are. When, who did it, what date, what were the circumstances? You have down here vehicle accidents with no injuries. 2, why is that there? Did the accidents occur on his property? Did it occur on Woodley Road, or is it related to his market at all? They came in here and just trumped up all of this stuff to try to push it on this council. Now, if these incidents occurred before this incident, I want to know. Most of them are related to this man right here, trying to get him off of this man's property while he interrupting people, threatening people to go in there. And in some instances, showing guns. I can bring just as many people down here to support Mr. Singh. You know what I mean? He's been there 26 years. I want to know how many incidents y'all have had in 26 years. If it was so bad, we would have been before this council before. So somebody tell me the date, time, incident of all of these things.
So let's
They're
make
trying
it,
to use that as a basis for revoking
so
his
let's
life.
make a correction. I did check on the sidewalk. Mr. Singh was claiming that the sidewalk was his. The city gate sent me a letter stating that the sidewalk was not his, the grass behind the sidewalk. So they were not in assembly. They was on the sidewalk one at a time. So that is not considered a protest. So they was on the city property.
There was no sidewalk in which he was protesting. He came
Well,
on this man.
The piece
He
of
came
property,
on
the
this
piece of
man's
property
property.
that I looked at and had the city to check on.
He came up. They were on this man's property, preventing people from buying gas and going into his store.
I'm talking about the sidewalk property. That's what the police was mainly
Okay, well,
calling.
tell me when and what date was that? Wasn't it after the shooting?
I have no particular dates.
It was after the shooting. Well, give me some dates. Since you want to use this to revoke his license, when did it happen?
Again, Mr. Wilson, and I'm sorry, Mr. Mitchell, I don't mean, but that goes further to my point that it's creating a hostile environment out there.
So this shooting, this one shooting, which Jamal came out there and started protesting and calling it all this, is the basis on which you want to revoke his license.
Well, the basis on the number of calls that I got from the constituents in my district, the number of calls I get every day about that one gas station, the number of calls, the number of people I saw standing outside.
Well, just
so
lay them out to
it's
me.
not based on Mr. Brown.
Give them to me
It's
then.
based on the number of people that I get calls for every day after that, and before that gas station, before that incident.
This is what you have before me.
At this point, you're asking me what did I base it off of? I based it off on the number of people that stay in my district that call me about that story.
Give me the date and time of all of these incidents that you're talking about.
You would have to get with Chief Harris and get those specifics.
Well, you instituted this thing to revoke his license.
Is it,
this is a show cause hearing.
Is it anything else?
This is a show cause hearing.
We have proved and talked about what we're going to talk about.
And just for the record, let me say too, Jamel Brown, he has been protesting a long time. I've never known someone to say he had a weapon, a gun, threatening somebody. I never heard that. Now,
don't mischaracterize what I said.
Okay.
I said there were people out there who were showing guns. I did not say Jamel Brown did it. Now you want to defend him.
We've had enough.
Mr. President,
I've heard enough.
I have one question.
Hold it.
How long has he been open?
He's been on 26 years. 26 years.
Okay. All right. Okay. Enough. All right. Next item. Show cause has been done. I accept that. Mr. Okay. Item 5. Next item.
Resolution revoking the business license of Sings Market at 3055 Woodley Road.
Move to adopt.
You gotta have suspension of rules.
Suspension of the rules.
Unanimous.
Move to adopt.
Three yeses, noes. How many are voting no?
I'm abstaining.
We've got 3 noes and 1 abstention. The motion fails for lack of majority.
Okay. Next item.
Item 6, resolution requesting Chamber of Commerce develop a preliminary development plan for projected rehabilitation and business growth for a 45 radius of the truck stop at I-65 and West South Boulevard, and present a plan to hire a consultant by September the 14th, 2021.
Need a motion to suspend the rules.
Move to suspend the rules.
All in favor, raise your hand.
Unanimous.
Audrey, do you want to explain what we're doing right here? Mike, can you run those, please?
This is a resolution asking the Chamber of Commerce to assist the city of Montgomery with coming up with a plan to develop the West South Boulevard right at that I-65. We have in here 45 miles radius around the truck stop there. As you see from these pictures, there's so much blight in that area. It's just abandoned. There are hotels standing. No one's living in them. we don't even think they're safe structures, actually. And so we just need some redevelopment in that area. And so we're asking the chamber, who is skilled at doing just that, developing areas and bringing in investors. We're asking them to put their skills to work on that part of I-65. And we had Ms. Anna Buckaloo, who is the president there, to come and speak with us, and she is all for it. And so we're looking forward to having some conversation about what West-South Boulevard could look like in the upcoming years.
Okay.
And real quick, and I know Ms. Buckaloo's still here, is this something by September the 14th? We put that in there. Is this something you think, Anna, that we can start talking about on the 14th or around the 14th of September? Okay.
Okay.
Mr. President,
Yes, sir.
looking at those pictures, and I hear what Ms. Graham and Mr. Pruitt is asking to do, but these buildings, and as we said in the work session, belongs to people. Is it any way possible our inspections division can go out and just inspect these buildings to make sure they're not condemned, their structure's sound? If they're not structured and not sound, then we need to make and put them on our agenda for demolition. So just don't let them sit there year after year and we don't go out and inspect them. So I'm asking that our inspection division over the next 2 weeks through September the 14th go out and inspect these facilities and these buildings for structure before we talk about condemning them and turn them into green
and
space.
Mr. Calhoun, you also remember that there is a 24-hour tear down that we can do, emergency tear down, if it's due to the health, safety, and general welfare of the public.
Yes.
So,
And I'm in all agreement with that because that's on the boulevard. It's a thoroughfare in our city, but I would like to see us inspect them for we'll know where we're standing before we start pushing them down. You said earlier, Mr. Pruitt, green space, if we can push them down, it becomes a valuable property. But when you look at it, it tears down a whole community. So as we go forward, I'm asking that our inspection division, up under the leadership of our Mayor Chris Conway, go out. I know that one is not structurally sound, so let's just look at them, and if we're going to condemn them, we condemn them, and we'll take measures after that to condemn those properties. That's my comment.
Okay.
That sound good, Ms. Carr?
I need a motion to adopt.
move to adopt.
All in favor, raise your hand.
Unanimous. Resolution is adopted.
Next item.
Item 7, review of issues with apartment complexes as listed.
Reconsider amendment with new contact information and new hearing date.
Okay. And that's okay, you got an amendment here.
No,
Yes.
sir, we're doing item number 7 now. That will come at the end of the agenda.
Okay, comes in the agenda, we're going 7.
The
So
reconsideration
7 is
needs
a,
to come at the end of the
Oh,
agenda.
in it? Okay.
No.
We're on 7.
Yes, sir, I have read 7, so you can proceed with that one.
Motion to suspend the rules.
There's not anything to adopt. You're
Okay.
reviewing with the apartment
I can't hear you, Ms.
complexes.
Blaylock.
She
I
needs
said-
apartment complexes.
Number
Oh.
7 is where you're reviewing the apartment complexes.
All righty.
Stonebridge, South Mall, Townhomes, Oaks, and Garden Grove.
so your review would be of,
You had asked the owners of these properties to come to council to dialogue with you on crime and other issues at the apartment complexes.
So are those apartment complex here?
They were supposed to, they were sent a
One's back there.
letter.
There's
representative of Stonebridge here. Come forward, please.
Looks like it's 3 of them here. There's another one in the back.
Kelly Circle. Your name for the record, please.
I'm Kristen Porter.
Pull your microphone closer.
My name is Jim Hubbard. Let me tell you, I'm legally deaf, and with this echo, I can't understand a word that's said. So my able mid-state regional manager is will answer your questions. But first of all, I want to thank y'all for your support, especially the police department. They have been wonderful. I was on the property several weeks ago one Saturday, and a group assembled. None of them were residents. And I called the police. They very timely showed up, and I trespassed them from the property. And I think we saw them a few days after that, but after that they disappeared. So that was very good. I wanted to apologize that we were not here during your last meeting. We literally learned about it from the TV station the next day. But I thank you for reconvening, and we feel like we offer a great service to the city of Montgomery. We have several properties. This is the only troubled property. I think the police will agree with that. And so with that, I will give you Ms. Porter.
Okay, Ms. Porter.
Say
Any
again,
questions?
what apartment complex?
Stonebridge,
And that was Kelly Circle?
Kelly Circle.
Kelly Circle. So tell me what security protocols have you guys put in place? Because I've been dealing with Miss Patty. I think Miss Patty was the manager.
Miss Patty, right. Miss Patty has since retired.
Okay.
Okay, so I've been there. Things started coming to light a couple of months ago.
Will you mic down some?
Yes, sure. Is that better?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. So the first thing I did was I did an audit, a lease audit, to see if the residents that were actually living there were the persons that were supposed to be there. Once I finished the audit, I realized that a lot of persons came in under false pretenses and weren't actually the people that were living in the apartments. So they were asked to leave, and that dropped our occupancy by about 7%. And then those persons that were complicit in certain behaviors. I'm a firm believer in the broken windows theory of criminology, which means if you take care of vandalism, loitering, things like that, a lot of the larger problems that you have will tend to take care of themselves. So we started there. Any persons that were complicit, whether it was with this loitering, vandalism, even down to even vehicles that were abandoned, we would get rid of those persons if they were residents. So we've dropped our occupancy about 25% over the past 90 days. And I think we've got a pretty standard set of residents there that we can work from.
I know you guys had a fence surrounding your property. I know on the back side it had a gap in the fence. Now, have you guys started replacing or repairing the fence that goes around the property?
She's asking him, if he can hear.
What did he say?
He said we can
He
say
said-
how long it's gonna last.
He said it's not actually our fence time, but we'll repair it, and it won't last, but we'll repair it.
Yes, and what about security cameras?
Security cameras, we do have security cameras. We actually updated our CCTV by adding better cameras, more updated cameras, additional cameras. We should be finished with that by the end of August.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, he was asking me about the Star Watch program that we've signed up for several times. Is that directed?
Do you have an internet-based, your camera system has to be on internet-based?
It is.
As long as it is, we can get you on the system.
Right, we did. We signed the paperwork, I think, over the past 2 years, maybe a half a dozen times.
We will definitely look into that.
Okay, all right. I firmly believe that, I've seen the police at least once a day, every day for the past 3 months. I have never seen that. I've been at that property since 2012. I have never seen such a police presence. So I don't know who's responsible for that, but we thank you for that. It's a huge help. I think we as property managers must take responsibility for who we give those keys to. I think we should have things in our leases and policy and procedure and make sure that we enforce those policies and procedure and not put blinders on when it comes to small things. And if we see something, we need to say something. We also need to communicate with the properties that are surrounded us. Montgomery, especially where Stonebridge is, we have several communities that surround us. We need to talk to each other and let everybody know these people are trespassed, this is what's going on, and not be embarrassed by it. It's not anything we did. you know, and it's just we have to work together for sure.
So last question, how many units and how many empty units do you have? How many?
It's 192. When this came to light, we had 9 vacancies. We are up to 49 vacancies at this time.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you for coming.
Okay, you're welcome.
It looks like you had one more apartment
One more?
complex that raised their hand in the back.
We have another,
South Mall Apartments.
not South Mall.
Is anyone here from South Mall Apartments, 3000 South Mall Circle? How about townhomes at Montgomery, 4930 Parktown Way? I see a hand back there. Would you come forward?
Townhomes.
Hi, I'm Destiny Anderson. I'm the property manager at Townhomes at Montgomery, and I'm also here for the Oaks. We're on the same street, and we're owned by the same company.
And what company are you currently owned by?
Thomas Ventures, LLC.
Is this the only property they own besides?
No, sir. He has us, the Oaks, the old Serenity.
Serenity?
At the Park Apartments, Narrow Lane Villas, Bell Oaks, and Barrington Hill.
Did you get that, Ms. Blaylock?
We've got Serenity, Narrow Lane Villas, and Barrington.
Yes, and Bell Oaks.
And
Bell Oaks.
Bell Oaks.
And you're the property manager of all?
No, sir. I'm just at the townhomes.
So tell me the security measures you guys have in place out there.
So we do have security officers that we have come out and ride through the property. We have them. We really have them over all the properties because we have about 4 guys that live on property as well as monitor the area. We have them with a rent roll, checking to see if they're on the lease agreement or not. We do call and ask for extra police security as well from time to time if it's been an ongoing issue or something. But
So question for you, are they certified security officers or just residents of the apartment complex?
no, they're certified security officers.
They're certified?
Mhm.
It's a company or it's just a individual?
Individual.
What about security cameras? Do you guys have security cameras?
We just recently installed security cameras just in the front. With our entrance, it's basically like one way in, one way out. So we have the cameras pointing, going out and coming in. But back in the Oaks, they have cameras everywhere. So they kind of monitor our back area as well until we're able to get cameras throughout. So
What about trespassing? Have you signed any trespassing? How long have you been in that position?
almost a year in September.
Have you did any trespass warrants on anybody out there?
No, not yet. It's getting there, but not yet. I haven't normally, if I can tell someone like, hey, you're not supposed to be here, or you're not supposed to be in this unit, they'll go ahead and leave. But it hasn't got to the point where I had to trespass someone, not quite yet.
And when do you think you guys will have those cameras?
I'm sorry?
When would you have the cameras installed?
I don't know. Honestly, I don't know. That's something that we're trying to work with the owner with to see what we can or can't do as far as cameras throughout the entire complex.
And is it a gate between you and Serenity? Is it a gate that goes around that property?
Yes, like the apartments.
Yes.
Yeah, so the apartments, like from their playground, you can walk onto our property. Yes.
So it's designed like that, or it's just the fence is down?
It's designed like that. But it's a gate up there, but they walk from the park to the Oaks to us. It's all connected.
Okay. And do you have any management that stay on property?
You said management? No, sir.
Okay.
Any more? I just like to remind you, Star Watch is available. When you do your cameras, make sure they're hooked into the police department.
Yes, sir.
Okay? We need those bad because it helps both of us.
Right.
Thank you. Anybody else? Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Garden Grove Apartments. Garden Grove Apartments. Representative Garden Grove Apartments here? None?
They do not currently have a business license.
Which one, Ms. Blaylock?
Garden Grove does not have a business license. We have two that are in transition. If you look at the sheet I put in your package, the
No
Oaks
21.
apartment and townhomes have changed owners, and they're in the process of getting their business license. But Garden Grove Apartments has not had one since 2020, and there's been no application.
We need to revoke them.
Oh,
okay.
I believe there may be another name associated with it, Ravenwood.
Is it Ravenwood?
It is, but the last on the business license is what the last information we've gotten was Garden Grove Apartments.
So,
That was
Betty, you want to
previously
check and see if it got Ravenwood license?
Yes, sir, we checked that.
We
and
checked Ms. Blaylock
We checked
needed
it
a
by
third,
the
yes.
address.
And nothing,
No, there's
Ravenwood
not a
neither?
current
Okay.
business
All right.
license. The
Good
last
deal.
was in 2020.
All right.
I'm sorry, what does that mean? I mean,
They don't have a business license. They operate without a business. They shouldn't be open.
He's not supposed to be collecting rent.
Right. We need to get him closed down.
So what we do, Ms. Blaylock?
It's the will of the
Betty's
council.
over it saying yes. She'll have her people on it.
But what does that mean? How
It
does
means he
that look?
closes up.
You don't supposed to be operating a business.
We need a
But you got
resolution.
people who live there.
Exactly.
He's
You know,
got to
we
get a
just can't
license
evict
quick.
those
They should-
people and put them-
He better get a license
They
quick.
shouldn't pay no rent.
Yeah.
He got no license, so he can't file tax.
He just got to, he's got to straighten out.
Stacy, would you like to enlighten this council, instead of us having a conversation, what we think should happen?
They should vote
What,
their license.
what is legally a business license without
got
apartment
nothing to
complex?
revoke.
Yes.
Got no license to revoke.
We've actually had a group discussion, a roundtable discussion about this with finance, and we're going to be working, we're actually looking into whether we can bring some kind of civil cause of action. Certainly, they shouldn't be collecting rent, but we're trying to weigh that with the fact that we also don't want to attempt to evict all the people who are living there because they don't have a business license. So we had talked about looking if there's some civil litigation we can pursue the owners to attempt to collect the taxes they're attempting to avoid paying, I assume, since they don't have a business license. And if so, then we can file civil litigation. Of course, we also talked about the fact that they sell these apartments on a pretty regular basis. So the challenge to that is actually getting the current owner served with a lawsuit, but we're actively looking into that right now.
And the council, this is just what I've been going through. I've been trying to meet with these apartment complexes for probably the last 9 months. And you see, they didn't even show up today, and we, asked them kindly to show up.
Yeah. We got to find a better way to deal with it.
And we've talked about, I think we talked with Councilman Mitchell about the possibility. We've been watching, the city of Birmingham brought a lawsuit against an apartment complex for not having certain security measures, and they're having a status hearing in a couple of weeks on that. The apartment complex, once they were served with that lawsuit, reached out to the city and began working with them to implement some security measures. We just haven't reached the point, I think, that we want to pursue that avenue just yet.
We need to push it. Need to push it. We got, it's not fair to the people there, nor us, if we're not collecting money. Okay, next item, number 8.
Item 8, application for a restaurant retail liquor license doing business as Bad Daddy's Burger Bar at 7755 East Chase Parkway.
Representative of Bad Daddy's Burger Bar. I kept thinking it was Big Daddy's, but it's Bad Daddy's.
Everybody makes that mistake.
They do, yeah, okay. Your name for the record, sir?
Dean Keith.
Okay, Dean. This is a public hearing. Anyone like to speak against this item, please come forward. Seeing none, I declare the public hearing's been held. It's proper for the council. In a motion. Hey, Joe, tune him back in, please.
Yeah, we ain't gonna go back to number 7 after 8, Mr. President.
Have motion to suspend rules, mate. All in favor, raise your hand.
Who made the motion?
Ms.
Ms.
Graham.
Graham.
Okay, let me see hands again. Unanimous?
Move to adopt.
All in favor, raise your hand.
Unanimous. Resolution is adopted.
Good luck with your business. When do you open?
Hey,
We are going to open September 6th.
Very good. Look forward to seeing you. Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Okay,
Mr.
somebody
Pre-
will make a written motion to reconsider.
Mr. President, let's go
Item
back to
seven.
number,
Make a motion.
I need to make a motion to reconsider number 7, specifically the Garden Grove Apartments at 2230 Woodley Square West.
Okay.
It's been brought to our attention
All in
that,
favor of
my
reconsider?
bad.
Raise your hand.
Unanimous?
Okay. Now,
So it's been brought to our attention, and we were discussing it. We're allowing this person to operate without a business license. There's no business license, so there's no possibility to evict someone from a property when you don't have a business license. So you shouldn't be collecting rent. So to allow him to continue to do these things within our community, that's the wrong message that we're sending out. And we had this once before when we talked about these bar owners not having a license. We close them down, they stay open. I mean, I'm saying happy free rent to the people that live here because he can't collect the funds. So, but the owner, we need to hold someone accountable since it's been 2020, since they had a license. I mean, what liability would the city stand for a business like this to operate with tenants if something was to happen?
Because we still fire.
There's no taxes?
no taxes. Yes,
Hi,
Patty.
Council. Clay Comer is the revenue manager over in our revenue division. And I know with the virus and all that we've had going on and business license having been one of the busiest times of the season for that department, our staffing has been down from probably a normal of 20 people to about 13. And so we've had people that have been retiring, people that are moving away for various reasons. And I know that they're working on, we have delinquent business licenses, okay? And so I'm sure as there are, the number of people that they can have working on that, they will. And this particular business owner, I'm sure that Faith will be looking into that tomorrow, and we'll get back with you on the results of it.
Okay.
It's just a lot of work and a few people to get it done right now.
Yeah, Ms. Betty, I wasn't knocking our departments at all. I'm just saying for a business to operate for a year without a license, the liability of the city, if something was to go on, that's not even an operable business. That's like squatters to me. And you're collecting rent. So I'm like, what is the consequences for a person within the city of Montgomery that does this type of stuff?
Stacy, from a legal point.
From a liability perspective, and at our roundtable, we had the fire department there, and we talked about inspections as well. As long as the public safety issues have been addressed, and as far as we know they have, according to the fire department, they are up to code, and we have not talked to inspections. They would be the ones, if there were complaints about mold in the apartments and things like that, they would go out to inspect. But from what I understand, we haven't gotten any complaints like that. So
I think Mr. Carr sent me, didn't Mr. Carr send us some on, which apartment complex Mr. Thomas Carr sent us? The 30-page, hey, is Mr. Carr,
We're not communicating.
Mr. Carr here? Because he sent me a 30-page report on thing.
And what about, Stacy, what if they filed evictions against,
I'm sorry, I can't hear
what
you.
if they filed evictions against some of their tenants, but they don't even have a license?
There go Mr. Carr. Mr. Carr, can you?
Can they legally do that, file an eviction?
The report that I sent you.
Don't know.
Yes, sir.
The report that I sent you was on all of these departments combined.
But didn't we have some complaints on, do you remember about Ravenwood specifically, or?
There were a few complaints. Most of them were older complaints. What I was giving you was a history of complaints.
Okay. Okay.
Mr. President, my last comment. Is there any possibility that we can go lock the doors on the office at this spot here to let the tenants know they don't have a business license? We need to shut them down. And that's the only way we're going to get the people to the table to come and renew their license.
Because if
I agree. I mean, we got,
There's
What if
a
we give 'em two
process,
weeks?
so let me
But how many more we got like this?
explain it to you.
We'll have to,
But,
we'll have to have a resolution in front of you first.
Mr. President, the process
Let's do
is
it.
that if one of these nightclubs doesn't pay us the money or have a business
By
license,
March.
and they open back up, MPD goes out and closes them down that night if they do not have a business license.
I agree.
But they have to be brought before the council first.
Yes, there has to be a resolution adopted.
But if they don't show up, they continue to open, they go by and I mean, it's not making any sense.
I believe the mayor and the city have the ability to do that without the council. I mean, if the man didn't buy a business license, he's in violation of ordinance on the books, which we don't have to have anything. That ordinance already been violated. You know, he's in violation of our ordinance.
Didn't we write up a little resolution the other day and y'all?
Well, they're in violation. However, we don't have the authority to go out and put locks on doors to businesses. We can go out and put, if there's a council resolution, we can put that on the door.
If we have an ordinance that says there's a business, you have to have a business license in this town, you don't have the authority to close them up if they don't have a business license?
We don't have the authority to put padlocks on the doors.
In August?
Do we have an owner of record that we can identify that we need to make contact with?
We're in the process of locating some of the owners. The issue is you have out-of-state owners that in some instances will hire property management companies to manage things like security, the collection of rents, and so forth.
Okay.
And so for that reason, in a lot of instances, and I'm speaking from experience, some of the property managers in some instances are basically told not to give out owner information. So I think that we can start back at the licensing process when these people are getting licensed, that we ensure that we have the owner information, not just the property management company.
Well, the piece of paper is what we're looking for. If they got a piece of paper saying they got a 2021 license, that's what we want. And if they hadn't got one, and the fire department goes out there, they need to close them down. Somebody needs to close them down.
Right.
I mean, we got enough authority somewhere. I mean, the mayor can close them down himself with a, I believe. I don't see why he wouldn't be able to do it himself.
Well, we would like
I mean, these people need to go, because if this is happening once, it's happening more than once.
Yes, it is.
And we got people violating our ordinances, and I'm not in a position to enforce the ordinances. Y'all are, okay?
Right.
So we got to get these folks to paying the bills, and because we don't, they're all going to start paying the bills. You know, they say, "Why pay a bill if he gets by with it? We not pay our bills."
Mr. President, so we don't prolong the discussion on this. I know some of the council wants to get out to National Night Out. I will too as well. We'll look into what powers that we have as a mayor. We'll follow up with you. We'll also issue a memo to the rest of the council to inform you of that information.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor.
All right, let's go to the next item, number 9.
Item number 9, application for lounge retail liquor class 2 package license doing business as Coliseum Package Store at 2094 Coliseum Boulevard.
Representative of Coliseum Package Store. Yes, sir. Your name, sir?
Hello. This is Durgesh Pachigar.
Okay. This is a public hearing. Anyone want to speak against this item, please come forward. Seeing none, I declare the public hearing's been held. It's properly before the council.
Mr. President, move to suspend the rules.
Have a motion to suspend the rules. All in favor, raise your hand.
Unanimous.
Move to adopt.
All in favor, raise your hand.
Unanimous. Resolution is adopted.
Good luck with your business, sir.
Thank you very much, sir.
Item 10, application for retail beer and retail table wine off premises only, doing business as Family Dollar Store at 2423 Eastern Boulevard.
Representative Family Dollar Store, please.
Your name for the record.
Your name for the record? Sherrill. Okay. This is a public hearing. Anyone like to speak against this item, please come forward at this time. Seeing none, I declare the public hearing's been held. It's proper for the council. Need a motion to suspend the rules.
Pruitt.
Move to suspend the rules.
Move to suspend the rules.
All in favor, raise your hand.
Unanimous.
Move to adopt.
All in favor, raise your hand.
Unanimous. Resolution is adopted.
Good luck with the business, ma'am.
Thank you. Item 11, resolution appointing Alicia Jackson to the Community Action Committee.
Mr. President, move to suspend the rules for the remainder of the agenda.
All in favor, raise your hand.
Unanimous.
Move to adopt.
All in favor, raise your hand.
Unanimous. Resolution is adopted. 12, resolution designating nuisance abatement agent.
Need a motion.
Move to adopt.
All in favor, raise your hand.
Unanimous. 13, pursuant to Section 1153B1 Code of Alabama, authorization of demolition of unsafe structures at the listed locations.
Need a motion to uphold.
Move to uphold.
All in favor, raise your hand.
Unanimous. Item 14, resolution assessing the cost of abatement of unsafe structures on various locations.
Need a motion.
Move to adopt.
All in favor, raise your hand.
Unanimous. Resolution is adopted. 15, resolution declaring, authorizing, and assessing cost of abatement of public nuisances on various lots.
Move to adopt.
All in favor, raise your hand.
Unanimous. Resolution is adopted.
Okay, we got one more thing here, but Mr. Mitchell, this is something you got?
Mr. Mitchell, you need to make a motion to reconsider Resolution 146-2021.
Motion to reconsider
All in
new
favor, raise-
contact.
All in favor, raise your hand.
Unanimous.
Motion to adopt.
All in favor, raise your hand.
We adopted.
Just reconsider, because you got a new address on there.
New
And a new
address
address and
and new date.
And a new date for the show cause
That's
hearing,
it.
because
All
we
right,
found
thank
out
you,
that who we had
Houston,
previously
Texas.
was not.
Motion to substitute.
I think we already did, didn't
I
we?
don't,
No, we need the motion to adopt. We've got the substitute.
Okay, motion to adopt. All in favor,
Motion
raise
to
your hand.
adopt.
motion to
No,
adopt.
Now, motion to substitute.
Now, motion to, okay. Motion
And
to
now,
sub-
call for the vote on the motion to substitute.
Motion to substitute.
All in favor, raise your hand.
Hold your hands up. 6. Ms. Graham?
Come on, Paul.
Unanimous.
All right.
Now,
Okay.
motion to adopt is substitute.
I need a motion to adopt now. All in favor, raise your hand. To adopt.
Unanimous. Resolution is adopted as substitute.
All right.
And I have contingency funds that I have put in front of you, approved by Mayor Reed. It is for District 1, 2,000 to AUM Dixie Youth Baseball. District 8, 1,000 to Faith Outreach Ministries, 1,000 to Georgetown Neighborhood Associations. And Mayor, I've received a couple since today. One is for District 6, $500 to Montgomery Area Mental Health, $500 to Regency Park Neighborhood Association, $500 to Montgomery Food Bank, $500 to Brentwood Neighborhood Association for District 3, $2,000 to Junior League Montgomery College and Career Night, $700 to McCoa, $1,000 to Women of Refined Gold. And for District 1, no, that's all of them.
Mr. President,
Yes, sir.
District 5, Seth Johnson Neighborhood Association, 500. CDC, Mr. Wet.
500.
I thought you took shorthand, bro.
Slow down.
CDC,
Act
Act CDC, 500. Fathers Helping Fathers, 500. And the Montgomery Mental Health, 500.
Wait a minute. Fathers
Yeah,
Helping Fathers,
whatever
and
that
what's the
was.
last one?
Yep, Mental Health Authority. And Fathers Helping Fathers.
I've got Seth Johnson Neighborhood Acts, CDC, Fathers Helping Fathers, and Mental Health. all
Yes, ma'am.
500.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Thank you.
Mr. President,
Yes, ma'am.
for the security cameras fund, will that go before?
You don't need to do it.
No,
Not now. We'll take care of that. An email.
Yeah, we're gonna do that in the budget.
Mr.
Email,
President,
email. When you're going to
anybody-
do something, just email me. We get it approved, bidding, okay?
Mr. President,
Yes, sir.
District 6,
District
I have a correction, Ms. Blaylock. It's supposed to be Montgomery Area Mental Health Authority.
That's-
You
Just a second, just a second.
Yes, ma'am.
Is that not what I said? That's what I've got written down.
Okay, I didn't hear it. That error.
But 500 or 600?
500.
500.
Lanier High School cheerleaders, 500.
Who?
Lanier High School cheerleaders, 500. Fathers Helping Fathers,
How much to Lanier?
500.
Okay, next one.
Fathers Helping Fathers, 500.
Okay,
Bellingraph Dixie League, 500.
okay.
Okay, anybody else?
Yes, District 4, Act CDC 500.
Two that I know about.
Okay.
What they got going on right now?
Anybody else? Need a motion to adopt?
Move for approval.
All in favor, raise your hand.
Unanimous?
Okay. Anything else on your desk?
No, sir, I don't.
Okay, now we're down to the non-agenda. People want to speak to us, and